everybody. We have Amanda from Madrid, Spain. Hello,
Hello, everybody.
Amanda.
Hello, Adi.
Hello. How are you doing? Thanks for being here, Amanda.
Well, thanks to you. It's a pleasure for me to have been invited. So thank you very much.
You are welcome, and let's have you talking because this English talk is with Adi and Amanda. Amanda, we would like to know what motivates you to learn English, and we understand that you are Spanish, right?
Yes, I am. I'm Spanish from Madrid.
Okay, and what motivates you to learn English then? Please tell your story.
It's many years ago when I was young. Many years ago. Well, back in the day, I loved English music. We learned English at school, but we didn't really do any speaking whatsoever, not at all. We only learned grammar, basic grammar, and that was the English classes that we got at school. So I started when I was, I remember, maybe 11, 12, 13, around that age. I started listening to a lot of English music, and I wanted to know what they were saying, and I wanted to be able to imitate them. I wanted to be able to sing as they did. So together with my sister, we spent hours, but like hours, with remember the cassette players, the old cassette
Yes,
players?
of course I do.
Okay, so we spent hours just playing a song and then rewinding to see if we could understand what they were saying.
God, okay.
And then, playing it again and then singing along, trying to imitate the sound. And that's really how I started.
Kind of fun, actually, yeah.
Like music.
Say again? I said kind of fun. Really kind of fun, rewind and sing along.
Yeah. It was hard work, eh? And with the years, many years later, I was very surprised to realize that many times we were right.
Okay.
We got most, not everything, of course, we got most things right. So we didn't do a bad job after all.
Okay.
That's really how I started.
Nice. So that means in your English classes at school, you didn't have conversation in English.
Nothing at all. Now things have changed a lot nowadays. At least here in Spain, in every school there are many more hours of English than when I was studying, and they also have conversation assistant that is usually a native speaker, and she or he takes the kids once or twice every week, and they just simply play games or do speaking or things like that. But none of that happened when I was studying. Our classes were just grammar, basic.
Just grammar. But let's make clear to people here. You are an English teacher nowadays,
I am
right?
an English teacher.
Yay!
Yes.
Nice one. Congratulations. But go on, carry on with your story. Your sister, you practice some, with the music. And what happened next? Go on, please. Tell us.
With that level of English, that of course compared to my classmates, I thought it was really good, and I thought I could really speak English perfectly. I started university, and after my first year here in Spain, I started a history degree. And after the first year, I decided that I wanted to go to London, and I wanted to go and study there. So I got into this student exchange program to go to London for a year.
My God.
Yeah, because I thought, of course, I can do it, right? I mean, I can sing songs, so my English is perfect. So I went to London.
Brilliant.
I mean, shortly after arriving, I realized that.
Wait, hang on a minute. You are from Madrid. You're originally from Madrid.
Yes.
And then from Madrid to London.
Straight. Yes, just like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the English that you learn, some at school and the rest by yourselves, you and your sister, with music.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly like that. We listen to kinds of David Bowie, the classics, some Britpop as well, and we thought we knew a lot right?
Nice,
So I
nice.
landed. I remember that the first day I went to this university in London, I arrived there and I said, "Hey, hi, here I am. I'm Amanda and I'm your new student." And the dean of admissions, that was the person I had a meeting with, was really shocked because apparently there had been some kind of problem with paperwork and it hadn't been done properly, right? So I was there, imagine, the first day, and he was telling me, "Well, we don't know who you are. We don't know what you're doing here."
Oh,
and I was
God.
like, "Oh my God. I mean, I just want to die."
Your name wasn't there. Your
Yeah,
papers
no.
weren't there.
Yeah, the papers weren't there. They were not expecting me, and they didn't know anything about it. So
Was there anyone helping you with the English, or were you just you by yourself speaking English to them?
Yeah, I was just there with in the dean's office, just sitting with him and just trying to understand him first, and then trying to make myself understood, right? In this really confusing and messed up situation. So, but thank God he was really, really nice. Everybody there was really, really nice. And he just told me, "Don't worry," because I imagine that he must have seen the panic on my face. Right?
Okay.
And he just told me, "Don't worry, you're here. You're not going anywhere. You're going to stay here and we're going to take care of you." And they were really, really nice. In theory, I should have passed a language test in order to start university there. But because of these irregularities with the paperwork, I didn't. So I had to attend classes as any other normal student.
Okay.
Right?
And how did you feel? Did you understand everything? What a great experience, huh?
Yeah, it was interesting, let's say.
Yeah.
I always remember, and I usually tell my students this, right? Because there is this adverb that is very common in English, and that in Spanish is a false friend, right?
Okay.
That is actually, right? And I will always remember the first day that I was in that class, and the professor was just saying, "Actually, blah 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 blah, actually blah 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 blah," and I was trying to take notes, right? And I was like, okay, and I was thinking about the false friend in Spanish. In Spanish, actually, right? If you translate it literally, it means really currently.
Correct.
Right?
Okay, it's like a false cognate, we call it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
So I was just remember taking notes and thinking, actually,
what does it mean?
Yeah, it doesn't really fit in this sentence. What is this man saying, right? So I always tell my students that story, and I think it helps them remember, because this one is one of the most common mistakes for Spanish speakers when they're learning English, right?
Okay.
This one is like very, very common. So I always tell my students this story. I hope it helps them remember correctly.
So people know what's the right translation in Spanish from actually.
Actually should really be realmente or en realidad.
Yeah,
right?
good. All right.
That's it. But for us is for Spanish is very similar to actualmente, which is currently.
Okay, got it.
Hence the mistake. Yeah. So
carry on.
Well, after that those first days, right? I was really pleased with how nice people were to me. I was also very pleased because I had to write a lot of essays, right? And we had not done much writing when I was in Spain in my English classes in Spain either, right? So people at the university were really nice, and I remember there was a guy from Panama who was teaching there at the university, and he was in charge of giving me hints and helping me with my grammar when it came to writing, right? So the first year was really nice. I mean, I was in a university that was not really in the center of London. It was away from the city. So I didn't meet any Spanish speaker, which at first was very hard and very difficult. But in the long run, it was very good for me, because that really helped me improve my English.
So
And
you had been forced to learn better English, yeah?
Yeah, which is really the best way. I mean, it's hard, it's not easy, right? But it comes to a point where you realize that, or you speak however you can, right? It doesn't matter if you make mistakes or not, but if you want to speak to somebody, you have to speak English, right? And I think that helps you learn a lot faster, right? And it helps you also realize that making mistakes is not bad. It's part of the learning process.
So you have to make mistakes to communicate.
Definitely. I mean, when you're learning a new language, who doesn't make mistakes? I mean, at first when you're learning, you are learning, right? And if you are, and I also try to tell my students this, if you are too scared of not speaking perfectly, okay, I'm not going to say anything because I'm not going to sound like he does, or I cannot be as good as she is, then you're really not learning, right?
Okay.
The way to learn is
good tip.
doing.
Good point.
That's it. And there is, I think, I now teach. I have private students, and I also teach many company classes, right?
Okay.
And I always find these students who need to give presentations at work, and they are very, very, very scared of making mistakes, and very scared of not being able, of being laughed at, right? That's something that, at least here in Spain, people are very conscious of that kind of thing, right? And they are very scared of, not sounding like a native, not sounding well, right?
I understand.
Or whatever. And I always tell them, don't worry. I mean, try to keep it simple, clear, and try to say what you want to say the best possible way with the things that you have, right? But I think that is, I mean, for me, I also tell them, I always recommend it. If you can go abroad for 2 or 3 months, then it'll be perfect, right? But I always tell them, go to England, right? But go to a small village. Don't go to London. Don't go to Dublin, right?
Okay.
Because these 2 cities are full of Spanish people, right?
Okay.
So don't go where the Spanish go. Go to a lost town in the middle of the Cotswolds, for example, or something like that.
And right? Kind of immerse yourself in a small village, speak only with native speakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's the key. That's the key, really, right? Because you lose
I must say something. Can I say something? If you cannot go to England and in a small village, look for a good teacher to have a conversation in English. Yes.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Nice one, Amanda. And what's the name of the? Can you tell me the university name? What was the university again?
The first university I went to was called the Royal Holloway and Bedford New College.
Okay.
That was in a small town called Egham. That was right the grounds of the university. I remember that one of the ends of the grounds of the university was right next to Windsor Castle.
Right. Okay.
So for me it was fantastic, because it was exactly the kind of university you think of when you think about going to England, right? And you think about Oxford and Cambridge, and all these red brick buildings and atmosphere, and it was exactly that.
Nice. Culturally speaking, was that a big change from Madrid to London, going to university? What do you say?
Definitely. I had done my first year of university here, and first the difference with the university there was great, because here I was studying history, right? But here still studying history meant simply studying and doing tests, right? And over there, it was nothing like that. It was more about researching, like going to the library and doing writing.
Different kind of
research.
study,
Yes,
methodology.
yeah.
Okay.
Totally,
That's interesting.
totally
That's
different.
interesting.
So first, the method at the university was very different. I thought it was a lot better, the English one, than the Spanish one, right? And then the culture shock. Well, I didn't really feel it that much, but I think that it was because I really wanted to be where I was. I really wanted to be in London, and I remember the very multicultural atmosphere in London was great.
Nice.
I mean, you could do really whatever you wanted, and nobody looked at you twice.
You can make many different friends as well from different countries, huh?
Yeah. You could. I mean, and just walking down the street, right? I always told my friends, it's like I felt as if you could walk down the street with a chicken on your head, and nobody would look at you twice.
Okay,
So
did you have a
No,
chicken on your head?
not that I can remember.
Okay. But it would be okay though, huh? If you did.
Yeah, but I hope not. Well, after that first year, because I liked it so much and I felt so comfortable, I decided to actually stay in London. I should have come back to Spain, but I decided to stay, right? And I found a different university and a different degree in the center, in the UCL, University College London, and I started another degree there.
Which what, can you say the name again? Which university was that?
University College London.
Okay. That was in London actually. Then.
Yes, in the city. Yeah,
okay,
because
London
going to the other one every day implied. I remember I had to take the train from Waterloo Station, and it took me about more than an hour to get to the university. So it was a long commute every day to go and come back. So I wanted to try to be in the city, not having to.
By then, how was your English then?
Well, I think
Had your English improved?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I will always remember the first job because I had to work, right? The scholarship that I got the first year was not enough, so I had to work. And I remember that my first job there was working at a hotel, a very posh hotel in Knightsbridge, right in front of Harrods. And
nice place, nice area.
Very nice area, very nice place, but very posh people, right? And I remember the director of the hotel, when I started working there, I remember her telling everybody how she couldn't understand me. And I mean, yeah, she couldn't. She was telling everybody, she speaks very fast, and I cannot understand her, right? And I mean, when I learned about this, I was like, oh my god, my English is terrible. I'm never going to learn. But honestly, after the first year, going to university, trying to make English friends,
improved. It
definitely.
Improved. Okay, good one.
Yeah, it's like running, training for a marathon, right? The more you do it, the better you get at it.
There you go. It's all about practice, yeah. It's all about practice.
It's all about practice. The more you speak, the better you speak. That's it.
And carry on. And then after you got the job, and we go because you're an English teacher now. We want to know how you became an English teacher. But hold there, tell this story. Go on.
Well, after I'll be brief. Right? I'll keep it short.
No, take your time. Go on.
After that second year in London, I have to admit that despite loving the atmosphere, despite loving the city and feeling very comfortable there, the weather was unbearable, or the weather became unbearable.
Yes, very cold.
Yeah. I imagine that you can understand me, right?
No, of course, I can definitely. I can relate it. Yeah, no.
Yeah, sunny countries, and the sun became an issue for me. I remember that
it's beautiful though, with the snow, everything, cold weather is really brilliant, but sometimes it's too much.
Yeah, it's the lack of light. I remember walking around. It was London is a very expensive city. So living in the center was impossible. I always ended up living in the outskirts, in Greater London. So always in this kind of neighborhoods, far from the center, very grey-looking places, right? So grey buildings, grey sky every day. After 2 years, I needed a break, and I needed to go and see all the things, right? So I decided to take a gap year, right? Something very common in English-speaking countries or in other countries, not in Spain. But I decided to take a gap year and travel, right? And I started traveling around Europe, and I ended up spending quite a bit of time in the Middle East, in Israel. That's where I met our mutual friend James.
James Stewart, got it.
Stewart. First time in Israel. And in the end, instead of spending one gap year, it turned out to be 3 gap years, right?
So how many? 3 years?
3 years, yeah.
Really? 3 years traveling, amazing. So
3 years.
What an adventure.
Yeah, and I learned a lot of English there, because now it's different. This was 30 years ago. And 30 years ago in Spain, it was not very common for people to travel.
And we didn't have the technology like the cell phones, the video calls that you have today. We had to use, to talk to the family, we had to use telephones, right?
Yes, yeah, I remember I had to use telephone and letters. I wrote a lot of letters. And,
my God.
Because when I returned to Spain, my best friend came to visit me, and she came with this stack of letters, and he's like, I have all your letters here. Nice. Yeah, I miss writing letters. That was really nice. Yeah. And because as I was saying, during those years when I was traveling, not many Spanish people traveled back then. It was great for learning purposes, right? Because I had to speak English no matter what. I met lots of people from South Africa, from Australia, from Canada.
With different accents.
Yeah, different accents, and not just that, Germans, of course, and from many other nationalities, right? So you learned, right, to understand different accents, native people and not native speakers as well. So from the language point of view, it was great experience, right? Very different environment, of course, from the university one, where you had to use a more academic language, right? And here you were traveling, and I learned how to joke and how to make jokes in English and understand people joking.
That's good.
Yeah, because I think that's also when the first time that you are in one of these reunions, right? And you realize that you can follow it perfectly, and you can understand the jokes, and you can make jokes yourself in English too, and you fit. It's great. It's like, okay, well, now I can say I may speak English.
Now you're master in English, because you make jokes. Good.
Oh, yeah, you make jokes, so it's a step forward. It's a step forward.
Amanda,
so and that's when I was traveling. I met my boyfriend at the time, who was Canadian, and obviously that also helped me to improve a lot, because we spent a lot of time together. We ended up having a son together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My son is now in Canada. In fact, he's now studying.
And how old is your son?
Well, my son is 23 years old.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Amazing. Congratulations.
Blonde,
really good.
Blue eyes. So you see us together, and it's like a joke.
And have you been? So you've been to Canada then? Yeah?
Yes. We lived there for about a year, more or less. And then I went back to Spain, but we kept visiting the family. And my son kept going back there every summer. And from the language point of view, I remember when we were living in Canada, I insisted on speaking Spanish to him. He was very little, right? And then when we moved to Spain, I insisted on speaking English, only English in the house to him, right? Because I thought, well, he's not going to be totally bilingual because obviously he's living in Spain, but I want to make life easy for him, right?
Okay,
I mean, he
definitely.
had to be able to communicate with the Canadian family, and I wanted him to learn English properly, of course. So we only spoke English in the house. That was the rule here. Yeah.
Nice.
That really helps. With the years, he has been living there for 2.5 years now.
Okay, so he speaks English and Spanish.
Yeah. And things, and going back to my teaching years, right? That's how I started teaching English, right? Because when we were my boyfriend at the time couldn't. When we first moved to Spain, he couldn't speak Spanish, right?
Okay.
So I get that we took the boy to school and people heard us speaking English, right? And the mothers and fathers from my son's classmates started coming to me, asking me if I could help their boys and the girls, right? And that's how, by chance, I started teaching. I had never really considered it as a career, right? But I started doing it like that as a hobby more than anything else.
Okay.
And with the time, I discovered that I really enjoyed it, right? So I left my job and I became an English teacher, a full-time English teacher.
Okay, so you took a full-time English teaching. Oh, nice.
I don't know if that was very wise, but
Say again, please.
I don't know, like from the economic point of view, I don't know if that was very wise. But it's I find it very rewarding.
That's what I was going to say. Economically, maybe sometimes teaching is not the best paid job, but it's really rewarding, because we can meet people, amazing people, interesting people like you, and you students can meet like you, and you can meet. I have amazing students. If you follow my podcast, you can see that the students are coming and they speak English themselves. I think
That's great.
That's really rewarding to see them, speaking English. Amanda, and I want to ask you so many questions, but I don't think we have enough time for that. But one last thing, please. What can you tell the students that are watching your podcast, your English talks? What can you tell them, please, about the English?
Okay, the best thing, I think, the best advice I could give them is don't be scared of making mistakes. I think that's the most important thing, right? Yeah, don't be scared, because if you let your fear of making mistakes stop you from speaking, then you're stopping yourself from improving and from learning, right? So the first thing is don't be scared of making mistakes. Say what you have to say. Second thing I would tell them is, say what you have to say, but keep it simple. Simple, clear I think is the best way to communicate, right? Because you're learning a language with the purpose of communicating, right? So if you cannot communicate in a very complicated or very complex way, many complex words, don't worry. I mean, keep it simple and clear. I think that's the best. That's the way to go. With the time, you can complicate yourself later if you want, or you don't. Maybe you don't want to, right?
Yeah, so, and then you can go to Spain with Amanda, and then go, to London, to live some adventure, or Israel, like you guys did. You, James, did. Amazing, really amazing. Amanda, thank you for your time. It's really great to have you here. I really appreciate. Okay, muchas gracias.
Obrigado.
Okay. And I hope I see you soon in a different podcast, in another podcast.
For sure, it's been a pleasure talking to you and being on this podcast. So thanks a lot for giving me the opportunity.
Oh, amazing to have you here. Amazing, amazing. All the best to you, okay? And your students, okay? They have an amazing, great teacher, okay?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Amanda. Bye.
Bye-bye.